Hello there, this is Martin from Zadas Gaming, and I want to welcome you to another Husle Castle video. In this video I'm going to go into dwellers and how to get them and how to make sure you get 5-star dwellers as well. So first of all, what are dwellers? Your dwellers are basically people within your castle. They're people that are producing resources as well as being your fighters to help you get stronger and defend your castle. So whereabouts are you going to get these dwellers from? Now, there's a number of different places that you can get them. You can purchase them from the portal store. So if we go to store here, then you can use these souls that you've collected and purchase them, and they're 267. Now, to be honest, this is a complete waste of souls, and I'd definitely recommend getting these diamonds instead. You can also get dwellers from the chests. These are normally from the later level chests, so to be honest, by the time you get up to these levels, you probably already have a full castle anyway. Now and again, you might get a offer show up where you can spend real money to get a dweller, normally a 5-star dweller. Personally, I wouldn't recommend spending any real money on this. It's incredibly easy to get 5-star dwellers without spending any money. Now, the most common and the easiest way is to simply breed them. And to do this, you basically get a male dweller, so we'll get this one here, and you place them into the living room. And then what you do is you get a female dweller and place them in the living room as well. And what will happen is they'll basically start chatting, and eventually one thing leads to another and she will become pregnant. And this normally takes around about 1.5 hours. Now, once she is pregnant, she cannot train to be a fighter or even go in the barracks. So what I'd probably recommend is, if you have your female dwellers that are in your squad, don't use them to get pregnant, because you're not going to be able to fight with them. So definitely I don't recommend doing that. She can, however, do training for other jobs as well. So you can put them in any of these other training situations, or put them into production as well. So you can still use them within your castle if you need to. After 3 hours, she'll be ready to give birth. And then once she has given birth, you won't be able to put her back in that living room for 24 hours. So it's a good idea to have quite a few female dwellers that you can kind of rotate to get the most of. And once she has given birth, the baby is going to wander around the castle, and it can't actually be controlled in any way. After 6 hours, a cake will appear above the baby's head, and when you click on that, they'll become an adult dweller. Now, one strategy to basically fill your castle up quickly is to place a male dweller in here and then place 3 female dwellers. So then each time one of those becomes pregnant, the next female dweller will start talking to the male, and the process will start all over again. Personally, I prefer to have 2 males and 2 females, as I do tend to find that quicker. In the earlier throne rooms, you might only have the 1 living room. When you upgrade to the next throne room, you can get a second living room, and you want to put this next to it so it links into a bigger one. Now, if we take a look into one of our dwellers, so if we take a look at this one, there's some key information on the left-hand side. So this top number is basically their power, and this is their fighting power, and the number is going to be based on their equipment. Now, as you can see, this one is very low, and that's because there's no fighting equipment. So if we were to have a look at one of our fighters, as you can see, this one is much higher. Now, when you see an opponent's power, this is each individual fighter in their squad's power added together. And high power does not always mean that they cannot be beaten. And again, vice versa, low power doesn't mean that they're always easy to beat, as there's so many other factors involved. And I will do a video on this in the future at some point. Now, below the power, you can see a star rating, and this can be anywhere from 1 to 5. And I'll go into more detail in that shortly. Next, we have their level for each job. So this is including fighter. And to be honest, it's often recommended to train them in multiple jobs so that you're able to move them about. And this is really easy to do and kind of happens naturally as you're increasing the amount of dwellers that you've got in your castle. Below that, we have attributes. So these basically highlight things like damage per second, armor, and other things such as crit, dodge, spell power if it's a mage. Now, if we look at one that's in a job, we have a lot less stats. So we have a damage per second, but then we also have their production. So we can see that this cook is producing 3,022 apples. Now let's have a look into the stars. So these stars basically represent the potential that dweller has. So this dweller's a 5-star, so he's able to level up any of these jobs up to 100. Now, if he was a 3-star, he would only be able to level up to 60. Now, it might not sound like a bad thing. I'm from 7, so at the moment, my fighters can only level up to 55. So I don't need anything above a 3-star, right? So in theory, that's right. But what would happen when I do upgrade my throne room and a level 3 dweller is not able to get past that level 60? I'd need to banish that dweller so that I can then get a higher star dweller and train them further up. And believe me, this is going to take a long time, and it's going to be a complete waste of time as well. That's personally why I recommend getting your castle full of 5-star dwellers as quickly as possible. And to be honest, it doesn't actually take that long. Now, the star rating that you're given for a dweller, it is random. However, there's a much higher chance of getting a higher star rating dweller if the father is also a higher star. And you'll probably start off with a lot of 3-star dwellers. So what you want to do is mate your 3-star dwellers in the living room until they produce a 4-star dweller. If that 4-star dweller is a male, then you want to replace the 3-star male in the living room with that 4-star, and then continue mating. And then again, once you get a 5-star male, you want to replace the 4-star with the 5-star. And it's just a case of continuing to mate your dwellers until you gain all these 5 stars. I would always aim to keep 2 to 5-star males in the living room. If you get any lower than the 5-star males, then I'd simply banish them from the castle. And you do that by clicking here and then banish from the castle. In terms of the female dwellers, I'd recommend keeping any that are 3-star or higher and just use these to mate with the males. And you'll find that your castle will soon have a lot more female dwellers than male. Over time, once your castle becomes full, you just banish some of those dwellers that are below 5 stars in the hope of replacing those with new 5 stars. And this whole process can be done in as little as a week. So there you have it, how to get dwellers and how to make a castle full of 5-star dwellers. If you've got any questions, please do comment below. And in the next video, hopefully we'll get an event, so I'll run through that. And so into the next video, bye for now.